Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Tryon. Welcome to the last, is it the last? Free Watercolor Wednesday class. Maybe we have one more after this. Karen, do we have one more after this? I think we might. Anyway, one more? Last one? Oh, one more after this one. Okay, I'll get it together someday. So good. It's not the last. We will meet again next week. Yes. But I have some very, very cool techniques for you this week. I've been loving seeing your buildings coming together in the group. I'm still going on my Biscuiteers building, and my Tour de France is finished. And I'm wanting to share with you this week some card making techniques, because watercolor, and yes, maybe with some of your practice sheets, or maybe you did some backgrounds with the silhouettes. These are great for card fronts. And if you got the kit, then you have some pre-folded cards and envelopes in there, ready for the front. Like, the pear would, make a cute one. You could say something like, we make a nice pear, something cute like that. Or even just like the flower bucket, just cut it out with your paper trimmer, or even like a craft knife on self-healing mat, and use these on card fronts. They don't need to go to waste. Oh, hi, everybody. So many good people joining in tonight. Thank you so much. Please tell me where you are joining us from, because we love to know what city everyone is joining us from. And I gotta say, I can feel spring. I'm going to show you something. I'm wearing like pink runners today. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling spring is coming. And tonight, it's really going to get us in the mood. Last week, we did a bit of free-handed florals, which was really fun to, take a color and start filling in, filling with foliage, and, letting your brush do a bit of that work. And, this takes a little bit of practice. Not, you'll get there fairly quickly. But tonight I want to go through something. If you've been struggling with the free-handed florals, I want to go through a couple of techniques that is really going to make you feel like, wow, I could pump a lot of these out and really get some great results. So what I want you to start with is get your paint palettes. You can get your liquid paints. Make sure you've got something to mix your paints in. And tonight, the star of the show is really going to be our pen. I want to make sure I've got the right one, because I have a bunch of them here. Yes, this pen right here, the one with the bullet tip, like the little fine line tip. This guy is going to help us create some really cool watercolor cards if we're struggling for florals with our brush. So I'm using, this is just a 5x7 piece of, this is hot press watercolor paper. Typically with these ones, it's all been cold pressed, but this is hot press. It's a little more expensive. I don't necessarily think you need, if you're shopping for supplies, I don't think you need to go for that, but it is a little bit smoother than the cold press. It takes a little bit longer for your paint to dry. And yeah, I mean, use what you have, right? I just wanted to put it in the kit so that you guys could feel the difference, experience the difference. But I think for the most part, you won't really even notice. So for this, I am using the 5x7 piece. And I want you to activate your paint palette. So I've just got a little Mr. bottle here, like some, oh, don't spray my cards. This just activates everything at once, gets everything nice and wet. And I'm going to add a little bit of that water to my palette too, so that when I'm bringing it over, I'm not having to redip my brush in the water. Everything's nice and juicy when I get there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some florally type colors, some, red. Maybe I'll add a little yellow to that red so that it makes it a little more coral, a little less primary. Darken it up a little bit, and then maybe I'll just get a bit of yellow, get that going. And mix it till you like the tone. No, not blue. Let's do a little more truer yellow. That one looks a little orange. Get a little bit of a softer yellow going. So what I want to do here, these two look very similar. Let's make this one a little more orange then. We'll use that one as our yellow. So what I want to kind of do here, and this is looking harsh, so I could add a little more water to it, soften it up a little bit, is if you've been struggling with watercolor florals, I'm going to show you this technique here. And I did this one halfway so you could see. All we're going to do, and this is very cool, you can see how I've just put little splotches of watercolor down. And then with that pen, I've just basically found where a petal might be. And this is sort of a cool way of doing a background when you might be struggling to do flowers. And this is a very modern watercolor look. And all I've done with my pen is added a little stamen in the middle and then just kind of traced around the watercolor splotch and used the natural outline like where a petal might be. And then these flowers come to life. You guys are like, what? Okay. Yeah, this is a very cool technique. It's very beginner friendly, but very modern looking and really does make you look like you know what's what. So I'm just scribbling in the middle of the flower there, okay? And then just using the edge and coming back to the middle and using the edge and coming back to the middle. And look at how the flower just forms. So it looks so natural. I know people are like, what? Mind blown. Okay, so now that you know what we're doing, because I think it was important for you to kind of see like, what? How's this going to turn out? Let's do the painting part. So if we're going to cover a whole background, let's just take some of and just put a little splotch down. That's it. You can come back in with a little middle if you want, but not all of them have to have that. And then let's just go around and you don't even have to paint flowers. We're really just putting some splotches down. And I'm just using this same color here while I've got it on my brush. Splotch, splotch, spread out the colors because you're going to want to move them around. Make some go off the edge of the page, okay? Splosh, splosh, no big deal. Rinse your brush, come in with another color, the orange, let's say. Just put a little splosh down. You can see I'm just kind of dabbing. Nothing, you don't have to try to draw a flower or anything like that. Just put down some color. If it's looking a little too heavy, just add a little more water. These ones are looking a little primary. We want to keep this nice and soft. Remember, everything dries just a little bit lighter, so I'm not too worried. Let's go with some yellow. Again, just a splosh. Fill in. Come off the edge of your page too. And look how fast this is to have this. And here it looks like, okay, what are you drawing here? This doesn't look that great, Jen. But honestly, this is very beginner friendly and you're going to be very impressed with yourself when this is finished. Put some smaller, different sized ones in there too. Okay, so we'll let that just dry for, a few minutes. And then when you've got your splashes dried, this is what we're going to do. So we'll zoom in as much as we can up here and just do a little scribble like you were drawing a bit of grass, like up like that. And then just trace the edge and bring it back to the middle. Trace the edge and just kind of do quadrants or you could do sections of 3, look nice. I typically like odd numbers, but this one lent itself to 4, so that's fine. And that's it. All right, let's do this one up here. Let's have the stamen be facing the outside of the, and then let's just find the edge and bring it back to the middle. Find the edge and bring it back to the middle. Go around the edge, back to the middle. And don't worry, like this one here has got some nice color at the bottom. So if there's some nice color at the bottom, choose that to be one of your petals and have the stamen kind of peek out from the color variation, and then use that as your front petal, right? As though the petals are kind of coming and the flower's facing that way. Add a little more if you want. When it's just a blob and it's kind of forward facing, then just find the edge. This one's kind of peeking out. And it doesn't have to, you're going to create the line going down towards the stamen. There doesn't have to be an existing line going down towards the stamen. Okay, I've got a bit of like extra color here, so I'm going to make the stamen pointing down this time. And I'm going to use all of that color like it's one petal. And then I'm going to make this a petal. I'm going to make this a petal. Okay, what do we have left here? Got some here. One here. And literally every little piece can be one. Now, if you want, you could go in with a little bit of green, or you can just leave this as is if you like it. Let's try going in with a little bit of green and see what it looks like. Some green on my, and let's just splotch it in the same way. We're not trying to draw a leaf. We're just putting some green water down. Now, you could do this before you put the black pen down. Luckily, this pen that we've included in the kit, it's waterproof, so it's not going to run. You want to make sure when you're doing watercolor, if you don't have the kit and you're using your supplies at home, just test it first. Just make sure it's a waterproof pen, or it sometimes will say on the pen itself. So again, not drawing leaves, just putting little splotches of green. And I'm just going to let that dry. I should have brought over my heat gun, but I'll set it aside for a second. Let's see how these ones are doing. Any feeling dry? Yeah, these are feeling pretty dry. So let's do a few more of these ones while we're waiting. Again, a little bit of stamen. Let's use the edge. Or maybe while this one's drying, I really should add some green to this one too. But I honestly, I like the technique without the green too. Like I'm not sold that it has to have the green. And make sure your greens, you know, it's soft. It's not too primary coming in here, because, you know, our colors are nice and soft. So if it's feeling a little overwhelming, like that one's a little overwhelming, just use that as your paintbrush or your palette and pick it up. And just add a little bit of green like this. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a minute on its own. Let's bring back the other one because it's a very thin layer of water. So now with my pen, if you want, you can just leave it like this, or go ahead and trace it out like a little leaf. Just be careful that it's dry. I don't love the leaves. I like the leaves, I think, a little more on their own. Very cute. Okay, I'm gonna let the rest of this dry a little bit. Let's try another technique similar, and then we're gonna come and we'll turn this into an actual card. So I've just taken a piece of the same watercolor paper, but I cut it in half. And so this is a great way of like making your supplies go farther. So if you cut it in half and then you use it as a card front, you'll get 2 cards out of 1 sheet instead of 1. So for this technique, we're going to do like flowers growing. Can you see them here? Same kind of idea. I've just got some green down here and splotches. So I'll fill this in so that you kind of have an idea of where we're going with this. I'm just going to let's use the green as our like stem. Okay. And then maybe we're coming up to a round flower that kind of, maybe it's like a little like this. And maybe we can put a few dots around it. And then, maybe this could be a few leaves coming out here. And just use that color and freehand draw in. They don't have to even look like real flowers. Like it's your choice what happens here. Come up a little further on the green. And then maybe this one is more like rose-like. So we could do a little bit of that stameny, or that we did in the other one, and find the edge and find the edge. And then what could we do for the leaves for this one? Maybe they could be bigger or they could really be small. Maybe it comes out with little circles like this. It doesn't have to be real life. And it doesn't have to be exactly on the line. Let's go like a little leaf in here. Kind of be loose and fun with it. Let's put a little bit more color so it starts to dry. Let's do some like speckle, like some little berries up here maybe, and we'll make something reach up there. And then we'll do a few more. Let's do some green like way up top, like some leaves, and I'll just do it like this kind of color. And then we'll let that dry while we're filling the rest in. Let's do this one like a traditional flower like we would have drawn like when we were a kid. If someone says draw a flower, sometimes this is what we draw. Like this kind of one. All good. It's as long as it's on the color, it's fine. And then let's go down again and let's do like a big kind of find the edge leaves. And then this one, go down and then like, let's make that like it's like coming all the way up and dots. Like maybe we've got some lilacs or something like that. Just little circles in there. And these are very sweet as cards. And you could go down still with the dots, like they're little buds. Let's make this one a little more tree-like with all little leaves coming off of it. We can have like little branches coming out. The The pen I'm using is the Art Liner from Spectrum Noir. Micron has a good fine line pen. So does Statler. So if you're thinking about something to get, I like any of those as long as they're waterproof and they have like a really like a fine tip. And, you know, we can make a few branches coming out the bottom. A few leaves. And our little berries are dry now. Let's do a couple just around them. And then we could do a big long thing down and have them connect like this. So, see what I mean? Just kind of some fun. This could be sort of like cattaily or milkweed. I guess that's really what I mean. Cattails would be good. I could do some of that. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, let's do another one, but where we put the actual color down now. And this one's fairly soft, so maybe my next one could be a little bit bolder. And all that means is just a little more concentration of paint, right? So just plop, you know, plop it down. Let's this one go in like rainbow order. That'll look kind of cool. Some yellow. And remember, vary the heights. It looks nice when things aren't all just uniform straight across. So here we'll do something where the green's going to come right up. Okay. And then we need a little purple. And just splotch it. Don't think about it too much. I guess I should have put a little blue. Maybe I'll put some like blue like berries kind of here, like some blue like this. And then maybe I'll get some real pink going. Yeah, it's kind of red, but that's fine. Maybe we'll balance it out a little more over here. Okay, and then let's make our green. So I'm just mixing some green on my palette here. If it's looking a little too green, a little too primary, add some yellow to it so it kind of mosses it up a little bit. And then let's just put a little bit of green down in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of places. And then maybe even like all along the bottom, like a little grassy type. And then we could even do like a little like bluer sky up here. It's looking a little muddy, so probably just my water's getting dirty. But careful not to touch the stuff that's already wet because it'll just start to meld together. So let's let that dry and then we'll come back to it in a minute. And maybe we could do something like we could either write directly onto the card front, like hello somewhere. I haven't really left a lot of room here. Or you could do something like cut a piece of paper and put a little banner like across so that, you know, you can put a little message, a little sentiment. I'm trying to resist the urge of getting out my stamps because we haven't given you that in the kit or anything like that. But this is a great place if you're already a card maker. Maybe you want to do some stamping or some heat embossing. That would be fun. On another night, we'll do a true card making live where we get out all the card making supplies. Let's just fill in this part here. I want to make sure all the watercolors filled in. And we'll bring it right down. I want to make sure everything like is connecting. And once you've done it, if you feel like it needs a little more paint, like you want to fill in some of these leaves a little bit, go ahead. And what's nice is that it really does not need to be inside the lines at all. Just maybe a little darker in where there's an actual leaf. Or you can just leave it nice and soft. What's great about this kind of thing is that you're not going to mess it up or feel like you mess it up. And here's the thing, you're not messing it up anyway. It's all yours to play with, you know? So don't feel pressure like it has to be perfect or it has to look like this or that. You know, the whole point of this kind of thing is that, I forgot one. Is that you're just having a bit of fun with it and seeing where it leads. All right, let's finish this one, and then we'll have a bunch of card fronts that we can finish. All right, I'm going to make the stem on this one right here. Just while we're waiting for our other one to dry, I'll fill this one in. Cute, right? So I've got a bit of variation in the color there, so I'll make that like it's the middle, and then I'll use that color as the petal. This is the leaf. And if you mess up, like that doesn't look great right there, but whatever, it's fine. Just keep going. It's the overall look that you're really going to notice, not whether or not one line is perfect. And not all of them have to have the stem. Like this one, for example, like it could be way over here coming off the page. Once you do a few, you'll sort of start to see where it makes the most sense to have it. And a little bit like the messier, the better. Everybody's nice and quiet watching. That's good. So we've been busy here at Homemade. We are nearly ready to launch our next homemade event. The registration isn't quite ready yet, but we can tell you it's going to the dates. So in case you're into, our events, we've got our virtual sewing event. It's going to be June 9th to June 11th, 2023. So watch over the next week or so. Watch your email if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, definitely go to our website, homemade.ca, and put your name in. so that you can get alerted to when our events go up. And then also, you'll get a chance to like know when we're going live and stuff like that. But that's coming. It's coming. We're pretty excited about it. Feels like forever since we've done an event. We've been concentrating so much on the shop in the last little while that I'll be glad to get back to it for sure. Anyway, so that's coming. Be watching for that. I know lots of you do crossover events, that you're not just, single, you're not just one-dimensional creators. Lots of us like to dabble in lots of different things. And I think this tonight is the perfect example of dabbling and not having to be a full watercolor artist, to get some very cool results, very cool. So you can see in some I've gone over the leaves, in some I haven't. You want to make sure nothing starts to look too black and heavy. That's kind of defeats the purpose of the watercolor too. If it starts to look too black and heavy, you mostly just want there to be a bit of dimension. Okay, so this one we've got one little pooling of green here. You can kind of see it's taking a little bit longer to dry, but I think I can start on that side. So let's do that. Let's kind of go up this one with a thick, and then we'll do these leaves here, and we'll try to make these into these kind of cool leaves. And then what if we did like a bit of a stamen, and then let's just make these loop-de-loop flowers coming out of it. Try to trace around what's already there, but not worrying too much if we go past it. If you want, you can always add more color. This one looks very tulipy to me, so I'll just kind of trace around that. Come down. I'm debating about adding more, but sometimes less is more. Just leave it. Yes. Maybe we could do one that still feels a little wet. We could do a big, long, sort of fanned leaf with this, that. Again, these do not have to be seen together in real nature. We're just doing a little fun, like we do in quilting. Echoing is always fun. You do one and then you put another one right over top. Think about that when you're drawing too. Add another one over top. Maybe there's more than one stem here, so that connects the rest of this flower. And we could forget the stem. And let's make some bigger, kind of a tree of leaves here. Maybe there could be another stem coming out, reaching up here, a little smaller maybe. Just have fun with it. And then we get, again, down here, probably has some more. My marker's dragging, so I can feel that it's still a little too wet in there, but that's fine. We can go up here with a few little like grassy spots. Don't fill in too much black down at the bottom. You don't want it to suddenly become really heavy. But the more you fill, I think the cuter it kind of looks. And we've got some really kind of abstract, cool, funky art that we created ourselves. Just doing a little flicks here. I love them. I think they're great. Really fun. Fun card fronts for sure. Okay, let's get this stuck on. I brought some foam dots, or you can use glue dots. This will make it just kind of jump off the back of the card a little bit. Just want it to kind of make sure it sticks there. Remember when you're using like foam dots though, to make sure that you've got it even enough that it doesn't sink in, especially if you're putting this in the mail. Use enough that it covers the surface area, and then you got to pick all the little backs of the sticky off. These didn't come in the kit, I'm sorry to say, but lots of you card makers out there will probably have some of these. They're just called foam dots or foam adhesive. And they're like literally little pieces of foam with sticky on both sides, and then it helps your card stand off the page. And it kind of makes it look cool, gives it a little more dimension. Okay. All right, got them off. And just center it on your card. And then you see how it kind of stands off the card a little bit there. It gives it a little bit dimension. You know, we could get a ribbon and put it around this. Maybe I'll do that. I'll have to be off screen for a second. Hold on. You guys can stay looking at that. I'm just going to see if I've got a little piece of ribbon here, or even twine looks good. You know, once you start, oh gosh, the ribbon drawer. We've been using the ribbon for a lot of the fat quarter bundles in the shop. And all right, I found a little pack. I found some twine. Let's see what we can do here. Kind of snazzy it up a little bit. You know, this is why you buy things when it's on sale, you know, so that when you're when you need to just run to your drawer, you can always find a little something. So I've got this yellow pom-pom. That's kind of cool. You could do something like right along the bottom edge. See what I mean? Like, that's cute. Let's see, with the twine or the rickrack, maybe just the twine would be enough. Oh, this is like elasticy twine. Even just like a little bow. Let's see here. What do I want to do? I'm going to get a little piece of white cardstock. I don't want to use the watercolor paper, so hang tight with me here, you guys. I'm going to get some white. Sometimes when you get inspired, you have to just go with it. If you want to do any sort of brush lettering or then I'd encourage you to do it for sure. Just make sure you're using, ideally, some smooth cardstock. That's going to make it look a little bit better. So I'm just pulling some smooth from my stash here. And this way, if we wanted to do a little banner that said hello or something like that going across, we could. I'm using a paper trimmer, and I'm just going to give myself like maybe 1/2 inch or something like that to write on. That way I've got a nice strip. It can either go directly across, kind of like this. We don't want to block too much, or maybe it just goes at the end or right like somewhere in the center. I think I'm leaning more towards so that it doesn't block too much. But let's just do something like write the word hello or my friend or something like that. Something short and sweet, or hello spring or something like that if you wanted to pop something in the mail to a friend. Now, typically I would say get a pencil and like make sure that you're going to be straight. So I'm going to grab a pencil. If you have a ruler, that's a good idea. Rulers always help. Of course, I'm pulling a pencil and it's broken, so that's great. All right, mechanical pencil for the win. And I'm just going to grab a ruler because you can always erase your lines. But once you get your marker down there, that's it. That'd be permanent. Okay, so yes, this is a quilting ruler. Whatever. But it's going to help me make sure everything stays nice and on the line. So I'm just like a 1/16 of an inch up, and I'm just going to make sure it's the same the whole way across. I'm going to draw a little line, and same on the other side because I don't want to go past that line on the other side either. We want to keep those letters all the same height. And then let's just just write hello right in between. And I'm writing it with the pencil because if I get a little like slanty, like I was right there, a little hello. And I'm going to write it in with my pen. And then with the pen, I'm going to do what we call faux calligraphy. Some of you have seen me do this before. And again, if you're not good at writing this way, we're going to just thicken our downstroke. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and just over top of what I've written here, I'm going to go over top of the pencil. And you can see I did the lines on the letters low. I did it in the bottom third, like on the E and the H. I made them even, but just a little more interesting for them to be a little lower. All right, so there's the hello. And now when you write like the letter H, you go down, down, and across. So anywhere there's a downstroke, I'm going to just thicken it and color it in. So that first H is the first thicker and color it in. And then when I write the letter E, that backbone of the E is a downstroke, and then there's 3 side strokes, so I'm going to just thicken that downstroke and color it in. Now, you don't have to color it in. You can leave it kind of shadowed. That looks cool too. And then, again, the back of the L is a downstroke, so we're going to thicken that back of the L and color it in. Again, L, downstroke, thicken it. Color it in. And then O is a tricky one because you're doing a downstroke and an upstroke. So on the left side of the O is a downstroke, so we're going to just thicken up that side and color it in. And now we've got a little faux calligraphy. And once it's dried, it only takes a second, you can erase your pencil marks because you don't need those there anymore. And, you know, if there's any spots that aren't filled in, just take a second and do it. And then I'm going to erase the pencil mark. White erasers, I find, work best. That's just, I've had to erase a lot of things. And then if you don't have a stamp, or you're not into card making and don't have all those card making supplies, this is a way that you can have a great little sentiment, totally handmade. And I've got a couple spots now that I see that can get evened out a little bit. And then I'm going to just trim that on the edge. And then if you want, you can put it on just like that. But I think it might look a little nicer if we took another color. And it's called matting. And we just put a little mat right underneath like that so that it stands out a little bit. So I'll just use my scissors for that and cut it exactly just around. And if you want, you can build this up too with some foam dots. You could put it right at the base. Oh, that kind of looks nice at the base like this. Then it's not really covering too much. My O's a little far over. Looks a little like hell. Oh. Oh, well, that's fine. So you can use just your regular glue dots. Some of those came in the kit. Or you can go ahead and lift as well. I'm just putting a glue dot down there and putting the hello, but it's like staticky. Put the hello on there. Again, we want it to be centered. If it's not, try, oh gosh, those are so sticky. Okay, it's a little not centered, so I'm just going to take my scissors and even up the other side to avoid ripping it. There we go. And it's literally just enough color so that it stands off the back of the card. And what's nice about this is that, you know, the whites are actually different colors. And if you were to put the white on white there, you'd really notice that. So I'm just going to take another foam dot, a couple foam dots actually, put it on the back, and we'll stick it onto our card. What do you guys think? Yeah. Cute. And then you could just take a plain piece of printer paper and you can cut it to 4 by 5 1/4. That'll be perfect for the inside if you want to write your message. Or you could use the white pen that came in the kit and you can write it in white pen, your message for someone. Now with this one, you can either chop it right in half. I'll show you what that looks like. So we'll do that with this one. I'm going to cut it at 3 1/2 because it measures 7. So 3 1/2. And then it's kind of cool because, you know, and there's lots of techniques you could do with this. You can use this as its own card front, like take one of the cards that came in your kit and just attach it like we did the other one and just leave it all on its own. You could do something like write, if you've got like a brush pen, over the entire thing. Like I could try doing that. Let's try it. I'll do like a hello. Let me fill it in. Because this is so nice and soft, it'll still stand out. And thicken this downstroke a little bit more. And you'll see it's just downstrokes that are thicker, right? Same when we wrote it. So you could do something like that. And then you've got a quick card front. You could do it just on its own, nothing, with the same little kind of hello that we did there before. Or you could do something like chop it up and spread it out a little bit. Or come straight across and burst it out the middle. There's lots of ways you can take what you've done here and turn them into all kinds of different backgrounds and card fronts. You could just take your pen that you've got and do a little hello right in the blank space. You could do something like put a whole ribbon right across it. Like if I'm looking at some of the ribbon I've got in front of me, maybe we take a little yellow and you could put it straight across like this and tie a little ribbon. Lots of great ways to kind of use this as a jumping off point, which is kind of cool. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this technique for a lot of different card making because it's really, really fast to pump out some bases. You could even just frame this on its own. It's really beautiful. Or use this on a larger piece, and then you can have the fold go here. Yeah. I hope this has inspired you in some small way to attempt that kind of floral without, I'm just seeing what time, yeah, without having to really draw or use the brush. You're really just using your pen and some splotches and coming up with some very, very cute, modern looking ways to pull off watercolor and then use some of the supplies that maybe you have at home or that we've given you in the kit to put these together as a way that you can, save $10 and give this as a birthday card or a little hello card. Trust me, anyone that gets this in the mail, especially if you put a little with your white pen, made by me or made by Jen and the date or whatever, or handmade, people love getting these kinds of things. So let me know if you do that, and definitely post your versions of the splotchy flowers. I don't know what else to call them, because I'd love to see what you come up with. And the great thing is they'll all be different. No two will ever be the same. So I'm glad you hung in here for this tonight. I think this is a very cool technique. And keep practicing your freehand florals. We'll get back to a little more of that next week when we do a big printable, well, I say printable, frameable is what I really mean. And we'll finish up the rest of our buildings. So thank you so much for watching this week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.